Today truly is a beautiful day, because if you play Pipsi Paladin in Hearthstone, you know you're gonna have a good time. This is probably going to be the very last video that I post talking about Pipsi Paladin, because I hate to say it, where do we go from here? I reached rank 1 legend with Pipsi Paladin. I'm actually using my own screenshot in this particular video, and I gotta tell you, this is something that I've always wanted to do. I have wanted to hit rank 1 legend not only for my own sanity because I've been playing this game for so long, but I can finally say in the title, rank 1 legend Pipsi Paladin, and I have my own results to back it up. I've just always used other people's screenshots, so let's go. Feels amazing and feels absolutely fantastic. But now that we've talked about that, let's actually take a look at the list and talk about why exactly Pipsi Paladin is absolutely dominating the meta right now. So this video is more so going to be talking about why Pipsi Paladin is good and how you can get better at the deck. But if you want to see gameplay clips of this deck, there are tons of videos that I've posted, as well as an entire Twitch stream that is dedicated essentially playing to only Pipsi Paladin, going all the way from bronze to legend. So looking at the data right now, Paladin is sitting at the 5th place in the meta, because as of right now, there's essentially hand buff Paladin, Pipsi Paladin, and a very small number of Showdown Paladins, which are the good decks right now for the class. But as of right now, Paladin's sitting in a very weird spot. But if you look at the data, if you look at Diamond through Legend in particular, Handbuff Paladin, Flood Paladin, like I said, are emerging. But if you scroll down a little bit, Taurus Paladin is sitting towards the lower end of the tier 2, mostly because this deck has a little bit of a learning curve that takes some newer players some time to adjust to. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to teach you how to essentially play this deck like a pro right after we're done with this meta analysis. But at top 1000 legend, Taurus Paladin, Pipsi Paladin, is the best Paladin deck out of all of the ranks by a wide margin. Handbuff Paladin doesn't even crack tier 2 because this deck just gets absolutely dismantled by tons of different archetypes at top legend. So Pipsi Paladin feels like one of the most fair decks to be playing right now because it has several different ways of engaging its win condition. And taking a look over at HS Guru, the meta is starting to adapt to where there is not that many Pipsi Paladins and there are a lot of DKs, which isn't necessarily favored into Pipsi Paladin. But like things like Highlander decks can sometimes be a little bit hard to deal with. But this is what the front page is looking like currently as of the past 3 days. A lot of people aren't really exploring Pipsi Paladin because they're exploring what else the meta has to offer. But it still says that Pipsi Paladin is one of the best decks to be playing right now. Here at Diamond through Legend, it is sitting at number 7 on the win rate list, while in popularity it is sitting at the number 3 spot. So this deck has really started to take off if you haven't already seen it. And then at top 1000 legend, not only is Pipsi Paladin the number 4 best in terms of win rate, I believe it's the number 1, yeah, the number 1 most popular deck in all of top 1000 right now. And the greatest part about it, look at those stats. Delicious, absolutely satisfying. 53% against Death Knight, 51% against Demon Hunter, 49% as the only matchup, the only class matchup below a 50% is the Druid matchup, and I'll explain that here in a second why that's the case. Highlander, Hunter, Mage, Paladin, Priest, Rogue, Shaman, Warlock, and especially Warrior all falter to the power that is Pipsi Paladin. But now that we've talked about how favored this deck is into the meta, let's actually talk about the deck itself and the couple of matchups that you might need to worry about if you're going to play this deck a ton. Because this is definitely the best deck in the meta, especially in my opinion, because I've played so much of it. I swear to God, I am not just saying this because this deck is quote-unquote my own creation. I am saying this because I was able to reach a very high rank, and this is the only deck that I can maintain above a 70% win rate with compared to all the other decks. And if I can get a 70% with the deck, that is really saying a lot. And just to show you how well I've done with this archetype in general, I've played 91 recorded games on a deck tracker with this deck, still averaging at a 67% win rate. So trust me, this deck is absolutely golden, and the only reason why this number isn't higher is because I'm a content creator and I have to play a bunch of other decks. So I would play nothing but Pipsi Paladin if I wasn't, making videos about a bunch of other decks. So now let's actually talk about why you should craft this deck golden, because it's that good, and let's talk about how you can become a pro with Pipsi Paladin. So usually I don't start with the Mulligan to talk about these decks, but we gotta talk about the Mulligan and why it is so crucial. Because with this deck in particular, there are some specific Mulligan tricks that you have to be aware of. Because the number one thing that I don't see a lot of people doing is keeping Living Horizon against matchups where it makes sense. So like against like a Hunter, for example, maybe against a Demon Hunter, if you have, you know, a decent amount of tempo and curve beforehand. Living Horizon is one of the most flexible tools that you can use to absolutely dominate the early game. So if you're on coin, for example, you are probably going to want to keep this card more times than not, because being able to summon a 4/6 as early as turn 3 is very crucial. Now, this is where monitoring your hand space is very important, because if you have a situation to where you need to wait one turn to throw this out, but you have to forego like your turn 2, for example, it is perfectly okay to throw out a hero power and then play this on turn 3, because so many decks are going to be like, oh crap, my early game is completely thwarted now because I have to trade into a 4/6 with taunt that also has Divine Shield. This is a very sticky minion that is hard to get rid of, and when you combine that with how good it can be with Conniving Conman, I don't care. Get mad at me, YouTube comments. I'm just getting through this very quickly, and sometimes I read the words a little fast. But Conniving Conman is a very good card to play with your Living Horizon to get even more tempo, and this is one of the primary ways that you can win with the deck, by fighting for the board in a very meaningful way, because if you have a gigantic board that cannot be dealt with, imagine buffing it with a sandcastle. But we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here, so let's talk about the Mulligan before we talk about specific lines that you should try to play for this deck. The general Mulligan of this deck is going to be Miracle Salesman, Hi-Ho Silverwing, Metal Detector, Mixologist against matchups where you debatably want to have that 1 mana AoE, as well as Robocaller and slower matchups in order to get a bunch of card draw. Some other cards that you definitely want to consider keeping in the Mulligan are going to be cards like Seashill in order to discount specifically your Pipsi. You want Pipsi in your Mulligan more times than not, unless you're going up against like aggro Demon Hunter in particular. And even then, if you have curve like 1-2 into Seashill on 3 into Pipsi on 4, this is a great card to keep in your Mulligan more times than not, because if you throw this out, you have so much survivability that this deck can generate for you. Now, another card that I have kept in the Mulligan is the Titan, but this is a card that you never want to keep in the Mulligan unless you have a way of guarantee throwing it out by turn 4, turn 5. Because if you have your Seashill and the Titan in your hand on coin, you could debatably keep this, especially if you have a con man that'll be coming your way eventually. But this is a very niche card to keep in your Mulligan, to where I would almost never keep this unless you're going up against a matchup where you specifically need to slow them down, make their big minions into slower minions, or if you want to draw cards from your deck. So now that we've talked about the Mulligan of this deck, let's talk about the 3 game plans that you are usually going to be acting out. And those game plans are taking over the board, setting up some sort of Lynessa combo, or winning the game with a gigantic tempo swing. Now, for the first win condition of playing for the board, I already gave you the example of using the Living Horizon as a great way of maintaining tempo, but this is just one great basic example on how you just build up your turns, turn after turn by turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, and you're always going to have minions on the field. And luckily with this deck in particular, it generates a lot of stats out of nowhere, to where if you have a board that sticks and then you play a Titan for a +2/+2, that by itself is usually going to be your primary win condition on just building up a board, making it go face, to where the combo of the Lynessa isn't even necessary. And that is something I absolutely love about this deck in particular, is that Lynessa is not the only way that this deck can win. Now, granted, yes, the main win condition of this deck is to play Divine Brews, coins, as well as Holy Glow Sticks to potentially OTK your opponent. Now, this is where I'm going to explain how exactly you count this, because the counting of this deck is a little bit wacky. So with Lynessa, it is very important to keep as many coins as possible, because if you have 1 coin and an O manager, you are essentially going to be able to play your Lynessa for 1 mana, because you have a coin that's already in hand, you have Sunsapper Lynessa into your O manager for 7 mana, you have 3 coins in hand, you cast those 3 coins, and now you've essentially only spent 1 mana on your Lynessa in order to set up this combo. Now, your Divine Brews are very important to realize how this works. Now, a lot of you guys might realize that, yes, if you play the 3 drinks left with a Lynessa, you get 2 copies of the 2 drinks left. Now, the way that you have to think about this is if you want to play one, full brew chain, you essentially need 7 mana to play the 7 copies of this card that is generated. So you have the original copy, you have the two drink left cards, and then you have the 4 remaining last drink cards for a total of 7. And if you cast that on a character without Divine Shield, they will gain plus 13 attack. And the way that you have to think about this is that the first one, you're adding Divine Shield and then giving 1 attack, and then each consecutive brew afterwards is going to give you 2 attack. So that is why 7 brews equals 13 attack on a non-Divine Shield character. Now you have 13 attack plus potentially 16 that's available from the Holy Glow Sticks. You have 4 that's available, potentially 8 if you get to play both of your own managers. So depending on what life total your opponent is sitting at, it is very easy for you to burst them from like 15 to like 20, but you can even go above and beyond and kill someone above 30. And the best possible way of doing this is combining your Divine Brews with your Horn of the Windlord. So you're essentially doubling the double on the Divine Brews because you have Wind Fury now attached to your hero. This is the most important way and the most consistent win condition against slower decks that do not run Viper. And Warriors, for example, Odin Warriors, you might be thinking, how do we deal with all of that armor? This is the way that you deal with that gigantic armor threshold. Because I have gotten to the point where I have, I think, hit people for about 60 damage with this kind of combo before. I believe 60 damage is the highest that I've ever gotten. And one thing that I should say is that I was actually lucky one time to hit a 0 mana Lynessa by hitting a 2 mana Lynessa from the Amethyst, hitting Sea Shield to make it 0. So I played this into O managers into both Divine Brews with a weapon, and I was able to put myself at 30 attack. Coolest thing that I've ever done with a deck. And here's a screenshot of that said moment. I told you, man, I have done about everything that you can possibly do with this deck, and this was the craziest lethal that I believe I have ever generated, because I had never had a game where I played every single brew in one turn. So the potential of this deck is absolutely massive. The skill ceiling of this deck is super rewarding, to where if you are a Hearthstone player that wants to get better at the game, I highly recommend playing this deck, because there is just so much that this deck can offer. And now the last win condition that I want to talk about are your big swing turns with Pipsi Paladin. Now I'm using the term swing turn just so that way I can incorporate a bunch of different ideas on how to play this deck into one category, where essentially you're going to have a big swing with your Pipsi, for example. This is where you play your Pipsi by turn 4, turn 5, have it die somehow to bring out a gigantic swing turn from your deck with cards like Ziliax, Living Horizon, and even the Titan being pulled from your deck for this gigantic swing out of nowhere that your opponent simply cannot deal with. Another way of being able to describe this win condition is you can swing with a gigantic, Titan out of nowhere, and then you play another Titan. You can combine those Titans in order to completely deny your opponent by either turning their minions into a bunch of 2/2s or buffing your own minions so you can get these insane trades. Because one thing to keep in mind about the Titan is that when you are trading, your minions can only take 2 damage at a time. An insane tool to keep your board healthy and alive and sticking, to where if they do not have an AoE or a specific way of dealing with a Titan, they will just simply lose. And the last 2 cards that I want to talk about for giving yourselves a great swing effect are going to be cards like Marin, because let's face it, you want to draw cards, and making a card cost 0 mana is just really good. There's just no other way to put it. You want this card in the deck because card draw is absolutely crucial, and let's say you get a 0 mana Lynessa. That's good enough. So I think Marin absolutely makes the cut in this deck. But the last card that I added into this deck that I was not sure about at first, but now I'm 100% sold on, is the Yogg-Saron. For one simple reason. What if your opponent plays it on Killziax and you have no way of dealing with it? This is just a great way of being able to mind control certain taunts or certain key minions that prevent us from winning the game, and particularly in the mirror. Let's say, for example, your opponent plays a Pipsi by turn 7 and you have 3 coins, or you have some coins in hand with the Yogg. You can literally coin out the Yogg, steal the Pipsi, and that might cause some opponents to concede. And because of all the coins that you have in this deck, you can easily play Yogg as early as turn 6. So this is just such a great great way of being able to not only mind control a certain minion that you never want to see, you also can just force the attacks as a great, you know, pseudo board clear. Because if you look at this deck, the only board clears you really have are Prismatic Beam, and some people are honest to God crazy enough to cut this card. I only really keep this in here because I feel like having at least one AoE, technically two with the Yogg, is just way too versatile, and against, like, you know, Pirate Demon Hunter, for example, sometimes you really need that one AoE card in order to thread the turns together. And also another reason why I like this being in the deck is that Robo Caller only has, you know, low rolls if it hits 0 or if it hits, you know, like a 7 when you've already drawn all of your 7 cards. So I really do believe that this is the best deck in the game. As you can tell by all the different strategies that I just gave you, I am very well knowledgeable about this deck. But if there's still, for any reason, you guys have questions, leave them behind in the YouTube comments. Let me know what you think about this deck. And if you ever have, you know, any concerns about how to get better, go ahead and ask me some questions, because I am perfectly fine with helping you become better with this deck. It really is the coolest deck in Hearthstone that I've ever played in recent years, and I highly recommend it to anybody that thinks that Hearthstone is just, you know, very 1, 2, 3, very simple. This deck will teach you, you know, it's simple at first, but then once you start progressing through the games, oh my God, does it let a good player become a fantastic player. And don't forget, if you do enjoy this kind of content, feel free to like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, check out the Patreon in order to make Lynessa happy. There might be some feet pics over there, and there are no feet pics, but regardless, thank you so much for making it to the end of this deck breakdown. I'm sorry if you guys love the Pipsi Paladin content, but this will be the last video that I have showcasing this deck, unless it goes through some sort of other wacky, insane changes that is much different from this list. So thank you so much for making it to the end of this deck breakdown, and we'll see you for the next video. We actually want this in this matchup. It stops the one turn. Who was I playing against during those games? During which games? This isn't in Fatigue, right? He switched to Pain. Honestly, weapon into attack another minion, play Pipsi on turn 4, and to combat on turn 5 is literally just the game. You entered anything other than the one, you were pretty much never getting it. Yeah, 100%. Which is why I'm really happy it happened. Because it could have been denied. It very easily could have been denied, but it wasn't. It wasn't. Why is it called Pain Warlock and not Self-Harm? Because Pain is just easier to say. Like, say Pain Warlock twice as fast versus Self-Harm Warlock. It's pain. What are you doing? You're inflicting pain to yourself. You're playing Hearthstone. You're inflicting pain onto yourself. In that case, all decks are pain decks. You can't really say self-harm that much, but in that deck, Custom Warlock anyway, Donkey named it Pain. So wait, Donkey actually is the one who coined it. State Farm Warlock. Is Infernal the voice guy? The voice of Allstate? I forget his name. Are you in good hands? Because he always puts you back at 15. He keeps you safe. Even when you're at 1 HP, they bring you back to 15. It's good. It's good insurance, right? Good Warlock health insurance. Quite literally health insurance. I make myself laugh. I can't help it. But it just won't stop. Sucks not to get another one, but definitely can't complain about that good of a board. Jiraxis Farm? No, it would be You Face Jiraxis Farm. Eridar of the Burning Legion insurance. You got rid of a crescendo, the game's over. It's done. It's actually just done. Who needs to say that twice as fast? That's not the point, though. The point is, it's just easier to say Pain Warlock. And now you have no crescendo. How do you win? How do you win the game here? I'm, like, actually confused. It's crazy though how over 70 games I'm still sitting at a 69%. This deck is just so cracked out. I love it so much. Oh my, wait a minute. 420-69 win rate. Yeah, you're right. Oh my god. 44-20 for a 69%. Yeah, good eye, dude. Order low. Should have traded here and then done this. It would have been better. This was the most concede nothing play I've ever seen. Reverb and then doesn't even kill the minion he reverbed. They call me Inspector Gadget. Oh, yo. Animals leaders, let's go, man. Hearthstone can be interesting. Hearthstone is a great game to watch because it's a game to where, I mean, it's a card game. Card games, when you watch someone that knows what they're doing, you can learn from it, you know? And people always are in the mood to learn card games. Like, a lot of people think it's easy, and then they're behind the wheel. They're like, wait a minute, I don't know what I'm doing. And then they see someone else do it, and they're like, oh, I can do that. I can totally do that. It's also a very chat interactive game. That's why I love streaming it. This is why I always come back to streaming Hearthstone rather streaming than any other game, because like with any other game, I have to focus on the game. Like, I thought I was good at streaming video games. Nah, dude, I'm just good at streaming Hearthstone. 157? I'm gonna do it. Oh my god, I got the exact cards I would have selected if I had a choice. This was so good. So now I could do this, kill another minion, play Pipsi on turn 5. Or hold on a minute, do I just hold on to the coins? I think I just hold on to the coins, mate. I actually don't even know. Oh, this is now a Pipsi game. I have an idea. If he plays Pipsi, is this just death? Oh wait, no, it's not gonna be enough. Because I don't have a coin. I would need a top deck and no manager for this to maybe be lethal.
May have gone slightly overboard on the size. May have gone slightly overboard on the size.
I could play Con Man and potentially get a double Pipsi pull from my deck. 19, holy shit, man. I'm the man. I'm the man who hit rank 1 legend. All right, this is kind of a problem because now he can trade to my Titan. Just kind of hoping to not hit Titan first. It's kind of hoping to hit Sandcastle as well.
Move quickly. The desert sun strengthens my rays. Open your minds to the light.
Need our royalty.
Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. Oh my god, I'm a moron. I was thinking, oh no. Oh, it's a big deal. I was thinking get the health afterwards, that's why. Okay, now I'm gonna have to do something else. God damn it. It's fine, but this is a really big screw up. I have hit the 4-hour mark. Might be time to call it. Because I have some other stuff I still need to do tonight. I also need to post a video, so I think that's what we're gonna do. We'll post a video and then we'll put the link in chat. Big deal that I made this mistake, man. Damn, I opened the stream and you screw up. Well, luckily there'll be 4 hours of extra content of me not screwing up. I still have a pretty good turn here, but
100% real. Fake gold.
May have gone slightly overboard on the size. The desert sun strengthens my rays.
To battle!
If I could just do this and then pop off combo in 2 turns, we're fine. Top Legend is all Pally right now. I played the same Paladin deck 4 games in a row. Yeah, at Top Legend, it makes sense. If you go on HS Guru, yeah, rank 1, baby. First of all, it's number 1 on Pipsi, or number 1 on Donkey. But if you go to meta, Pipsi Paladin already sitting at 5.3% right here. And then top 1K, it's literally 10% in the meta. No patience, and I hate waiting. Oh, get your ass in. He's playing super defensive.
Evil will be purged. Evil will be purged.
The desert sun strengthens my rays.
Oh, son of a bitch. Do I really need to go Marin into Crown? Wait, no. It's fine.
The sun shines for me.
Just OTK him. Ah, yes, that's me. You're probably wondering how this Hearthstone deck came to be. It all happened one time when I got sick of the Hearthstone meta. And well, I decided to craft my own deck. And well, now you know. God damn it, it's not happening today, man. I wanted to try and hit top 10, but people are entering Legend at a faster rank than I'm climbing. Yep, in shitification. What, okay, what exactly does that mean? Like taking an IP and then just making it worse, and you know that people are gonna ingest it anyway? They're gonna consume that media because it's got an IP that they're attached to? Isn't that what that means? It's literal slop. Not even schlop, it's literal slop. It's actual Rick and Morty brain rot slop. There's no other way to describe it. Yeah, no Maiwo Shinderu. Another note that I have to make is that how come when something has anime, like whenever you're making Rick and Morty anime, right? How come the voice direction has to be so nada? Like, it's one thing to act it out. It's another thing just to make all these anime fucking character noises that don't actually meaningfully contribute to the content.
Don't hang up.
It's just so bad. There really is no other way to put it. An actual soulless cash grab.
A limited time offer.
We'll wait on the robocaller for now. Services and media becoming worse over time because people are too invested in the status quo to revolt when the changes happen. I don't know if it's necessarily a thing about being too invested in the status quo to revolt. It's more so like, I don't feel like people understand that the easiest way to get a show off the air is by literally not engaging with it.
Don't hang up.
And I think we're in a point now where companies are aware that you don't need to make good content to survive. You just need to make shit that people talk about. And I mean that in the literal sense. Make shit that people can't help but shit talk or downplay or whatever. I think that's what's happening to entertainment. Is that the conversation surrounding how good or how bad it is more important than the show actually being good or bad. It's the conversation. It's the fact that people are talking about it that keeps it relevant. Yeah, Velma. Velma's a great example of that. It's shitification literally in real time. Because Velma, it was never good. You're getting gaslit by the creators there's no way they thought that show was actually well made. Velma was an incredible show. All right, I'll play devil's advocate. Why? Why do you think it was a good show? What did it do well that you enjoyed? You know, if Velma was such a good show, what did it do that kept you watching? All right, I'm genuinely curious. If you actually, if I'm not being trolled right now.
The desert sun strengthens my rays.
Incredible that it got, yeah, it's amazing that it got greenlit in the first place.
Strengthens my rays.
Oh, I got trolled. Okay, I thought so. Couldn't help yourself, could you?
100% green. Faint colors. Wings.
Oh, I done goofed.
Heat stroke.
Had to do this though, I needed the board. Saving for like a prismatic beam turn didn't really make a lot of sense. I might just need to start playing Druid at this point, dude. No one's playing aggro right now.
A limited time offer.
Probably dead. I dig on Druid. I mean, I really don't like playing the Druid deck because it's the most, you know, oh, I have a good matchup deck ever. You know, if you have bad matchups, it's the most brutal thing in the world. But it's the deck that's really got top legend as like a way of just like bullying slower decks. Spell damage to Maxi Druid. I kept losing to Druid with this deck. Never counted, it's always lethal.
The sun shines for me.
Nice. Three playable ones. You should farm if you don't do some stupid Pipsi on turn 4. Yeah, exactly. Make a cash grab that people actually enjoy. Like, a great example of this is the fucking Mario movie. Nobody asked for a Mario movie, but they made one, and it wasn't like, you know, you didn't need any information going into it. It was just, you know, a good movie to go take your kids to go see. And the thing that's really sad is that that's all you need to do. It doesn't need to be fucking Citizen Kane. It just needs to have a purpose and it needs to serve it. Exactly, it wasn't a terrible watch. I actually have been meaning to watch it because it dropped on Netflix recently. But I haven't had the time. YTP, Pepsi from Arby's. Yo, I'm making an Arby's run. Y'all want anything? Ocean's 11, exactly, man. I love me some Citizen Kane. I've actually never seen Citizen Kane. I just know that it's debated as like one of the best movies ever made. I should watch it though. Who made Citizen Kane? Orson Welles. Wait, Orson Welles? Wait, hold on a minute. The Orson Welles that voiced Unicron? Orson Welles? I had no idea. I had no idea, dude. Hey, stop it. Go lay down. Lay down. Dude, I had no fucking idea.
A limited time offer.
His first movie too, it's an awesome watch. Okay, fine, stop it.
Nothing gets past my house.
Yeah, Zena's getting all excited about Orson Welles. I'll find it for you if you're actually gonna check it out. One of these days, I would check it out. Feel the snake bite and tell their games. I know it's not an exactly captivating answer, but if you were to give me access to the content, I would try to find a day to watch it. Xena, calm down. Stop it. No one is there. Stop. It's okay. You're fine. Look at her. He's on high alert. You're fine, doggo. Come here. Give me a hug. Come here. You're fine. Fine. Everything's fine, doggo.
100% real fake gold.
The desert sun strengthens my rays. Open your minds to the light.
Oh shit, dude. I don't think that's a link you should be dropping in chat, but thank you. Bro literally just found Citizen Kane and just gave us the link. Thanks for the find. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 movies, classic. Two mana Lynessa, hot.
Reborn in my image.
100%
Desert
real
sun
fake gold.
desert sun strengthens my rays.
I love this deck so much, man. Cena says Clark put on Citizen Kane for me.
I can do it.
The sad part is for some older movies, if you want to legit and pay for it, you can't. Yep, that's always been the problem. Piracy has always been an issue of accessibility, and if people can't access the content in one way or another, they'll find a way. They will find a way. All right. Next turn I could do this into this, and then once this draws the brew, we're fine. Yeah, same with old Pokemon games. Yeah, same with old games in general. But yeah, Pokemon games, man. I can't tell you how many times I've ripped it up from a. How many times I've ripped the Pokemon game? How many times I've downloaded it on my phone? It's usually what I do when I'm on an airport. When I'm in a plane, I play my my Pokemon emulators. I didn't really do it that much this time. Oh, you know what I actually did? On the plane, I watched Green Mile all the way through. I've obviously seen clips of that movie. I'm very familiar of what it is, but I'd actually like never sat down and like watched it before, and I'm glad that I did. It's such an awesome, well-made movie. That's not a plane movie. What the fuck? Yeah, it's really not. It's not really a plane movie, but I also was sitting there for a while. I was sitting there for a while. I was on the plane for like 3.5, almost 4 hours. Clark admitting to piracy on stream. Nintendo bots closing in. Oh no. Yeah, but Green Mile, man, really good movie. Cause like I had seen parts and whatnot, but I'd never really like gotten the full context of the movie. This is readable.
One dose solves any problem.
That's what multiple tabs are for? I mean, yeah. But then you get distracted and then you don't come back to the stream. You know? It's the nature of internet, dude. Cause like how many times, okay, a great example. You ever log into YouTube for a reason, you automatically see something in your recommends, you click it, and then 15 minutes later you're like, why did I log into YouTube again? Oh yeah, that's right, I wanted this. That's literally everything on the internet now. Hey, did you know? Hey, don't forget. Hey, don't forget. Hey. Bah! Now you're interested. That's how it works. Now you see King Plush and you're like, now I want to hug him, and you're like, damn right you do. I leave the audio running as long as it isn't terribly annoying ad. That's also important, yeah.
That feels good.
Okay. This is good for 2 reasons. 1, I get the coins. 2, I might be able to get the Titan now, and maybe there's a turn where I do this instead in order to kind of like buy some time. But I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna coin, play the Titan.
Everybody needs a cast.
What? Mortician. What is this deck?
Everybody needs a cast.
What is this deck? Wine time? Yo, share some with me, mate. Especially if it's that good red stuff. Oh, I love me some red wine.
I will not forsake.
Evil will be purged.
Be reborn in my image.
Yeah, jingle the keys in front of the audience. You'll get their attention. What is my audience? 5 years old? No, they're actually 25 years old, and they still love the idea of jingling keys. Now he's getting minions. It's at least something.
That feels good.
100%
Don't always know where you stand till you know that you won't run away. There's something inside me that feels like breathing in so far. Delicious, bro. I literally could not have squeezed out any more value. Ugh. This needs to be a blood deck, or it needs to have threads or something. Is it Subway Surfers TikTok? Yeah, the Zoomer equivalent of jingling. Yes, yes. Having like gameplay that's unrelated. Yes. That's a total Zoomer thing. Don't always know where you stand. All right, now's the time to surprise me with the threads. Something inside me that feels. Damn, bro. He got big and beefy. He got the big and beefy from Arby's. Like breathing in so far.